Hi everyone, welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone, and welcome to the last podcast episode for like 2.5 weeks. This is crazy. I'm going to miss you guys so much. It's been such a wild ride these last few months. Like, things have really picked up in terms of like the charts and like our YouTube channel. And I feel like we're growing really fast right now. So please don't forget about me over these next couple of months. I really don't want to lose that much momentum, but I am excited for a little break. I think I'll come back really refreshed, and I'm sure the podcast listeners, you guys are probably excited for the regular audio to come back. But like I've been saying these past couple of days, if you guys want to follow along with like my pop culture opinions or just like my trip, my life, whatever is going on in my personal life, follow me on Instagram. It's at Lauren Meisner _. All right, guys, I have 3 stories for you guys today. The first one is that FaZe Banks has weighed in on Alissa Violet standing up for herself against Tana Mongeau and Brooke Schofield. So FaZe Banks is saying that he is proud of how his ex-girlfriend Alissa Violet handled herself amid the Tana Mongeau and Brooke Schofield mean girl, quote unquote, drama. So we all know that a few weeks ago, Alissa got in some beef with the canceled podcast. And this was right before Brooke's tweets came out. So like before they resurfaced. So Alissa's like stuff, all the stuff going on with Alissa, it really just kind of simmered quite quickly. But the gist is that Alissa called Tana Mongeau out for constantly making fun of Jason Nash for like, quote unquote, like begging for money on TikTok live. And Tana always stitches them or like always makes fun of it on TikTok. Alissa made a video saying basically like, stop doing that. And then that kind of started this feud between Alissa, Tana, and Brooke, but also just like different sides of the internet, like the fandoms. So Tana and Brooke, they spoke about Alissa on their podcast, and they said that Alissa was the meanest girl in LA. So then Alissa responded and she made a YouTube video, and she basically said, she addressed a ton of stuff, and you guys can go back in one of my previous episodes. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I talked about what she said. But yeah, she said that she's intentionally unapproachable because LA is like so toxic, and it's just easier to be unapproachable, not have guys like constantly trying to like hook up with you, or not having people constantly trying to like take advantage of you. And if you really think about like the late 2010s, like Alissa Violet was one of the clickiest names on the internet. So I completely believe everything that she says about this. I think it would be very overwhelming to be one of the most famous people on the internet and for all your friends to be like so famous. And I think there would have been a lot of clout chasing around that time. That was kind of like that peak era for YouTube, right? So now Alissa's ex, FaZe Banks, has spoken out about this feud on a podcast. He went on the All Grown Up podcast, and he said that he's proud of Alissa for setting the record straight in her YouTube video. And he also said that he completely like agrees with what she said about her defense of like, I'm intentionally unapproachable. He gave an example. He said, I have seen so many girls that I've hooked up with on my For You page talking about how Alissa was mean to them when they were friends back in the day. And he's like, yeah, because you were hooking up with me, her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or whatever, at the same time as like pretending to be her friend. So like obviously she's not going to then go and be nice to you when she finds that out. So he really had her back, which I thought was kind of sweet because not a lot of people have had Alissa's back throughout all of this situation. And like this is the kind of stuff that is like low stakes internet drama where like nobody should be getting canceled, quote unquote, for anything. I understand Alissa standing up for Jason, especially given the history of like Jason and Tana and Trisha Paytas and Tana and the Vlog Squad. But she did address in her response that she actually didn't know about that stuff. And I think I believe it. I don't know. I'm not really on anyone's side in this situation, but that's what I'm trying to say is like, this is the kind of like petty internet drama where like the whole internet went against Alissa Violet because Tana and Brooke made these like podcast episodes, and they kind of like, I mean, Tana wrote like a poem and it was like considered really funny and stuff. So, then everybody is like canceling quote unquote Alissa Violet for something that is like so low stakes. So it's nice that she has somebody in her corner, especially because they had a very tumultuous relationship. So Alissa and Banks, they had a very high profile relationship in the late 2010s. They were like so popular in that like LA YouTuber world. So they got together in 2017 after Alissa dated Jake Paul. Alissa and Banks were together for about 2 years. And then when they broke up, she accused Banks of cheating on her with multiple women. Okay, the next story is like a happy one, guys. I feel like we don't get a lot of happy stories, but Jools Lebron has secured the very demure trademark just days after all of the drama. Okay, so after a random man in Colorado filed the trademark for very demure, very mindful, the rightful creator who started the trend, Jools Lebron, revealed in a new TikTok video today that she has secured the trademark, or that they're like working on it, that like it's gonna be okay. She said she wouldn't get into how she got it and how she's working on it, but she said she has management now, and because of how popular the trend has become, obviously, I presume that her management is helping her get that trademark. But Jools previously said that she wanted to use the money from this trend blowing up to complete her transition and help out her friends and family. So I am so happy that this chapter is going to be closed for her, hopefully. I mean, it was a very short one, but like it would have been a devastating one to find out that some random man was trying to co-opt this saying and like, profit off of this trend that was started by a trans woman, like not okay. And I'm so glad that she has people in her corner now and like team members who are going to be helping her out with this. Okay, and the last story that I have for you guys, it's a very, very quick one, but MrBeast has hired a very high-profile lawyer to fight the former employee that is making all of those crazy viral YouTube videos against him. So MrBeast has reportedly hired Alec Baldwin's lawyer, who costs $2,000 an hour, to fight that random guy, DogPath404, who has been making these videos about working for MrBeast. In these videos, he's called him a fraud. He's called him a sociopath. I think his name is Dawson. He is so unhinged. Whether what he is saying about MrBeast is true or not, and I know I've reported on some of the stuff that he has said, and I'm sure there's a bit of truth to it and a bit of not truth to it, like I think just kind of with like everything in life, but the way he is coming for MrBeast, I don't know his background. Maybe he is a lawyer. Maybe his father is a lawyer. Like maybe he can actually fight this, but I'm like, dude, I don't know what is going to happen, but I can't believe he's just not scared. He is like unhinged. Like he's making videos being like, oh, his team is waiting to make a response until I drop all of the videos. So, and then he's like calling out Jimmy's lawyers by name. And he's like, okay, so-and-so, here's what I'm going to say in the next video. So, so you can get like a head start on this. And then he'll just like say it. It's actually like, it's insane. Like he is so combative. It's so wild. And I don't know, like I'm scared for him. I don't know if he realizes what he's gotten himself into, but he does not seem scared at all. Like he is stepping up to the plate and he is going full throttle, and he is saying things like, he's saying point blank, like MrBeast has committed crimes. He's not using the word allegedly. Like he is just saying things. And I'm like, what is happening here? But another person that is not backing down in the MrBeast saga is Rosanna Pansino. Now, she is much more considered with her delivery and her approach on all of this, because I do think she is presenting mostly stuff that she has been told from other people, like messages that she's received. And she's making it clear that like these are anecdotal like messages and experiences. But yeah, she's not backing down either. She just keeps making these videos. So it's been a bad summer for MrBeast. And I wanted to read this excerpt from the Garbage Day Substack because Ryan Broderick, who writes it, he positioned it so well. He said, the walls are closing in, and he, as a MrBeast, finally hit the first thing he can't optimize his way out of: public opinion. And that is exactly what we are seeing. Whether there's actually any like legal ramifications or financial ramifications to MrBeast is to be determined, and I would say probably unlikely. But the public is turning on him, and public sentiment around MrBeast is just not the same as it was even just like 4 or 5 months ago. So I think I know I keep saying this, but I do think this might be the beginning of the end. I think it might be the beginning of like his fade into irrelevance. That's not to say that he won't still get a bajillion views. And I think that's something that's really interesting with MrBeast. I would like to hear you guys' opinion on this, because he somehow has remained kind of like fringe and random, even though he is the biggest YouTuber in the world. Like, if I asked any one of my friends, do you know who Tana Mongeau is? Most of them would probably say yes, even if they've never watched a Tana Mongeau video. If I said, do you know who MrBeast is? Most of them would probably say no, even though his audience, in theory, is like 100 times bigger than Tana's. He is just not really part of the zeitgeist, which is harming him now, because I was going to say he doesn't have stans. That's not true, because I've been on the receiving end of MrBeast stans, but I don't think he has a community in the same way that other creators have managed to build, because all he cares about is optimization for views. Like, all he cares about is going viral. He doesn't care about creating content for, you know, a subset of people online that follow him and love him and expect certain things from him. All he cares about is beating his numbers video to video. So I do think, even though the public perception is shifting, and even if he becomes like quote unquote irrelevant, I would argue he's already kind of irrelevant. And I also just think he will consistently get hundreds of millions of views all the time, because he is creating content for an algorithm. He is not creating content for people. And that's my 2 cents there. All right, guys. Well, this is it. This is the last podcast for a couple of weeks. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. If I come back to like reviews and comments, like, it will just be the best thing ever. So I would really, really love if you guys like Mini Scroll, if you like Infinite Scroll, if you like the daily podcast, if you like what I'm producing and what Centennial World is trying to do, the company behind this podcast, please, you know, share the love, maybe share our podcast on your stories or something like that. It would mean a lot. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. I'll miss you. I love you. And I will talk to you on September 17th. Bye.